Howdy. So here we are. It is Shabbat, and I'm not supposed to be working today, but something's got to be said. We had another tragic aviation accident last night, and the conspiracy theories are flying already. Prepper Dog put out another video today, not that awful long ago. That's what actually prompted me to make a video, because he's all kinds of things he's pointing at. Could it be a drone? Will people give up on the drone thing already? I mean, isn't it old by now? Isn't it overused by now? I think so. I think it was overused months ago. Look, what happened in Philadelphia last night was a very, very tragic incident. As far as an official account of what happened, that's a long time coming on that one. I think they're going to be able to figure out and come to a conclusion as far as the D.C. tragedy pretty quickly. But this one in Philadelphia, probably not so much. So instead of being like Prepper Dog, which blows my mind, he even included about how some of the comments were entertaining. People are trying to tell these folks that are running with all kinds of nonsense, they're trying to tell them to knock it off. But instead of being able to hear them, their ego won't let them hear them. They just write them off or mock them or call it entertaining. No, it's not entertaining, and neither is the bullshit you're spewing. It's pretty disgusting. When people have lost their lives, one of the most disgusting things you can do is run to whatever you use to record video and make some conspiracy video about it. That's disgusting. It's disturbing. And I never do this, I'm gonna make a prediction for 2025. In 2025, you are gonna find YouTubers, mostly in the prepping genre, show their true colors. And as I've already said previously, you're gonna see a lot of them go away. Because there's a cultural shift that is happening. And yes, largely due to the election. And there are a lot of people that just are done with nonsense. And that includes the conspiracy theories. That includes the fake preppers that got prepper in their name but never talk about prepping, like Prepper Dog. Frickin' ridiculous. It's going to take a while to get to the bottom of what happened in Philadelphia. I did a little bit of research last night. Imagine that, because I didn't know. Wow, imagine that. If you don't know something, instead of running to YouTube and just spouting off at the mouth, actually doing some research first. Isn't that amazing? So I don't know all the requirements of black boxes, if you will, in aircraft. So I went to Google. I know that the large commercial aircraft, I know that they all have to have black boxes. But it was a Learjet 55 that went down in Philadelphia, which is a much smaller aircraft than a, big commercial airliner. And I didn't know what the rules, what the regulations stipulated as far as that type of equipment on those aircraft. And you do have to take it one step further, because it's not just any old Learjet 55. This is used as an air ambulance. And so you have to specifically consider that, because there's a lot of changes and a lot of things when it comes to aviation regulation and medical transportation. It's not on the same level. So what I found out was that on an air ambulance, if you will, there is a requirement for a cockpit voice recorder. There's a requirement for that. There is not a requirement for a flight data recorder. See, there's two black boxes on your big commercial jetliners. There's a cockpit voice recorder, and then there's a flight data recorder. So for an air ambulance like a Learjet 55, it's pretty much comes down to company policy, whether or not they have a flight data recorder on them. If that particular aircraft did not have a flight data recorder, that's really going to make it take a lot longer to get to the bottom of this. What the NTSB does is they gather as many pieces of the aircraft as possible. And then on a floor of a huge warehouse, they, in a sense, piece the plane back together. You can check me on all of this. I welcome you to. They do their very best to at least get the parts put in the right place on the floor where they went, so that they can literally go from nose to tail. And I'm not saying that they do it in that order, but they can investigate every part of that aircraft. Well, with the widespread debris field, there's a lot of small pieces. For anybody to come out and say, well, it was this, it was that, they're ridiculous. And they should be rebuked, and they should be shunned. There's a lot of things to consider. Weather was most definitely a factor last night. The cloud ceiling, from my understanding, was like 700 feet. It was definitely icing conditions once you got up around 4,000 or 5,000 feet. You started to hit icing conditions. I don't even think that aircraft made it 4,000 or 5,000 feet. I don't even think it got that high. I know the number that I have seen is 1,600 feet. That's the number that I've seen so far. So icing on a jet, I don't think that icing is much of a consideration here. I just wanted to throw that out there. Was it hit by a drone? Probably not. Probably not. I can only go by what I know. I can only go by what information, what evidence is out there. I've got a video up. You've probably seen the video by now. I'm not going to play the video because that probably is going to get me caught up in a copyright strike. But I am going to play the audio of the video, and I want you to listen closely. Okay? I just want you to listen closely. This is the video where a gentleman was walking out a door. He was saying goodbyes to whoever else, the lady that was there. He heard a noise, started to turn around. About the time he got turned around was when the first explosion happened, and it kind of like stuns him for a second, and then that second explosion hit, and he was booking inside. That's the video that I'm referring to, and I'm going to play the audio of that, because in the audio of that, you get to hear the plane. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to actually let it play through a few times, just so you can get a good listen to it. Okay. Now, I'm not going to make any claims on anything because I can't. I don't know enough. But I can tell you what it is that I do observe. And if I could show you the video, I could point something out. I could point something else out in the video that kind of leads me to suspect this. So, to me, those engines don't sound right. To me, at least one of those engines isn't right. It almost sounds like there's a lot of metal scraping or something of the sort. Maybe damaged turbines, something of that effect. Now let me explain something else to you about what you see in that particular video. As that plane is approaching the ground, you can actually see it roll, do an aileron roll, okay, like that. As it's approaching the ground, it's doing a roll, okay? The plane had just taken off. It was just starting to gain altitude, and this is just purely me speaking here. But if you were to have a catastrophic engine failure of some kind on takeoff, that could most definitely put the plane in a roll. At least the forces on the aircraft would change dramatically. And I would imagine, even in a Learjet, and the reason why I say even in a Learjet, the engines are pretty close together on a Learjet. I would imagine there's still going to be a considerable amount of force on that one side versus the other, especially with a catastrophic engine loss, as it boom, gone. So, I have a feeling that the investigation is going to be focused very heavily on the engines. And as to why an engine would have had a catastrophic failure, it could have just been a failure of a part, or it could be in fact that the engine ingested something into it. Probably not a drone, especially at 1,600 feet. But whatever, prepper dog. So I looked into birds' behavior. Do birds fly in the rain? Because, I wasn't certain. And most don't, but some do. Some birds actually are equipped, if you will, to be able to fly in adverse weather, like seabirds, as an example. I think sparrows was one of them that I saw mentioned when I was doing my research. So could it have been a bird strike? Possibility. Now, none of these things am I saying, this is what it was, nor am I trying to raise any kind of a conspiracy as in, could it have been this? We need to get a hold of ourselves, folks. And when I say that, I'm talking about the ones that have to run out and scream conspiracy on everything. Probably not you if you're watching me, and certainly not me. I just think it's ridiculous. And when you add on that there's a loss of human life, it makes it disgusting. And I rebuke all the individuals doing it, and I highly recommend that you rebuke all the individuals doing it. Because the more people that speak up, the quicker they will get the point. But right now, their egos won't let them see it. Because they're just entertaining. Or they're just trolls. It's sad. It truly is sad. Anyway, that's what I've got. I ask the Father's forgiveness for doing this today. But I'm pretty sure the Father's not very pleased with individuals like Prepper Dog. And speaking a Bible verse at the end of the video doesn't clear you of all. Just the facts. There's a whole lot of people that speak the word daily that are definitely not favored by the Father. A whole lot of them. Anyway, I am out of here. I hope you all have a blessed day, a blessed Shabbat, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Shalom.